Shelley here. One of my favorites from the past is my sheep canvas. Very different from my other canvases, and I particularly like the look of the lamb's expression. Plus, I think fiber art is really cool. So recently I saw a photo of a lamb standing out in a field, and it gave me the idea of using my sheep stencil again. So I'll be working on a 16 by 20 inch canvas today, and I'll be using lots of texture paste and yarn and hoping it turns out half as good as it is in my imagination. So let's get started. Okay, I've got a 16 by 20 inch hardboard canvas here that I did something on years ago and didn't like it, so I painted gesso over it. And so I'm going to use that today because I'm going to have quite a bit of texture on this canvas. And I'm going to start off by just taking some modeling paste and putting it through a stencil. Not a real thick amount, but always love that part. I always love the reveal. Now, there's places here that don't look great. I think I'm going to get my larger. Oh yeah, that's way better. But we'll be able to fix those up super easy. What I like to do is come back in about 20 minutes and I can pinch off any or push down any really super high areas that are bothering me. I can also wait 24 hours or so, maybe less, and come back and just sand off the places that I'm not happy with. I'm never worried about too much texture. You can always fix it. All right, now we do have these areas to touch up, but we will let everything dry before we do that. Okay, I'm not lining it up perfectly. Just pretty good. So I'm sitting here kind of looking at my canvas and I'm going, why did I put all this texture all over my sheep? Because all of this in here is just going to be in the way. It's not going to be seen. So what I decided to do is line up my stencil and go ahead and mark where the outside of my sheep is going to be. I'm going to go in with my putty knife and remove all the texture inside the body of my sheep. And I had to do, because it's a big canvas, I had to really piece my stencil together. Okay, so here's my line going up and around. Doesn't have to be exact. And I'm just going to go in with my putty knife and kind of move it side to side. And I have to work at it a little bit, but not too bad. It comes up pretty easily because it's still not dry yet. All right, I took it out and I sanded it. I'm showing you up close here. I don't know if you could see, but no more high points. It's not super perfect. I don't want it perfect. Then I took a brush and brushed away all the big, well, I thought I got all of it, but I see a few more. But all the big powdery bits. I think it'll be more fun if we do this first, but I was ready to paint. And I was excited about getting started on the painting, but this will take us back a little bit, but that's okay. I'd rather have it the way I want it than regretting. Although I might still regret something. Who knows? There is his head, or his face. Okay, I think I'm going to start with my ears first. Looking at my pictures off the internet. This guy's is kind of droopy. I don't like his as much as this guy and this guy. Straight out to the side-ish. And right at the edge of the, and we cocked our head just a little bit. So I think I'm going to go right in there. We have ears. There is the rest of his face. All right, more drying. Now I want to do just an overall background. Put out a little bit of nutmeg too. I want a good mix of colors in my background. Maybe some water. I want to get in there and get all of that white in the background gone. Mix up a little bit of dark gray into my dark brown. Trying to get all that raised edge there. And you can see it's, maybe you can't, hopefully you can see it's very raised there. Adding a little barn red to my nutmeg here. And I think just a drop of my burnt umber. Typically the insides of the animal's ears are pink, but I am not feeling pink. Add a little more of my burnt umber into this brown. You know what I forgot to do? I darkened this up, but I didn't darken this up above his head. There, close enough. It's going to be covered by hair or by yarn anyway, so I want to put just a little bit of the territorial brown out and a little bit of my off-white. And then I'm going to mix the two off to the side over here, and then gently pounce it on. I'm not too worried about the color because I'm going to wind up gluing some yarn bits here so that a little bit too dark. I'm thinking maybe I need a little more something in my background. So I want to mix up, I don't want to go crazy with it, but I'm going to put out a little navy and some gray. Put a little water out there too. I like the light, but I think I want to add some darker also. All right, now I'm happy with it. So what I'm doing is I'm going around. I forgot to turn on the camera again. Oh my gosh, I get so excited about what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm taking these little pieces of yarn. This is just yarn from Walmart. And I'm folding it over. I put a little glue down. I stick the U part of it in the glue, hold it down for just a couple of seconds with my little tool here, which is for clay. I think use it molding clay or digging in clay. I don't know. I don't use it for that, so, or I haven't yet. Never say never, right? So yeah, I'm just sticking the base down, and these will be cut. He'll get a haircut later on, so I'm not worried that they're not all the same length. Some of them I did a little bit short. And I'm just going to go all the way around his head to add some fluff. And then I'm going to do a different technique on his body. You could use any kind of glue for this, but I mean, I've used the beacon glue for this kind of thing, and it works great because it's a fast grab glue, but I really like to use the hot glue because it's fast and easy, dries quickly, and I feel like I get to move a little bit quicker. Okay, I've got a nice little bit around the face, and now I'm going to take my scissors and trim a little bit. I don't want it to be so too high raised up. And if you cut too much off, you can always, if you feel like it looks too thin, you can add another row. Or a few more little spots. It's just not a problem at all. I don't want it to be perfectly coiffed. Is that a word? God, I don't want it to be perfectly cut. I want it to be a little bit rough looking. You can go through and fluff it up and pull some of the loose stuff out. But I've had my original sheep canvas for years, put it out every year in the fall, and I've never noticed it losing hair or anything else. It's just weathered quite nicely. Well, not weathered like it was outside, you know what, it's just not worn. I'm gonna measure. I've got it marked on my desktop here with a Sharpie here. I've already measured out the length I'm looking for, I think. I'm going to cut a few just to get me started. I don't want to cut too many in case I change my mind. They're not perfect. I don't have to have them perfect. And I'm going to work from the face away. And what I want to do is make little rounds for my body. And because obviously up here we have less of his body on the side, I'm going to get this started, and then we'll make some small ones in these areas. It isn't easy when you get the other yarn there by ya. Big old chunk of glue. A lot of glue. Cobwebs to clean up here. And I'll do that as I go along, but I want to next clean up my edges so I can see if I need to put any more little knots. Now the next thing I want to do is trim up around his face a little bit. This is way too long. Give him just a little haircut. I'm not going to panic if I take too much off in places. I can always come back in and put more into if I feel like he needs it here and there. Now I want to do this little area right in here, this little U. And I'm going to take some of my fluff over here on the side. Make sure I pull it a little bit so it's nice and fluffy. And for this, I'm going to use just regular old white glue. And I'm just going to put a little layer on there. And then I'm going to take my fluff. Like I said, we're going to put it on thick, but then we're going to take most of it off. Okay. All right, now let's pull this off. Shoot. Yes, I didn't put enough glue on. Now I also want to do something about this right here by the ears. So I want to take some of my scraps and I'm just going to go ahead and attach them right along that ear line. We'll cut them down to fit. Take a bit of my navy. I feel like I should have left a little bit more room here for his chin definition, so I think I'm just going to cut a little bit more away. All right, now I'm going to go back in with my hot glue gun because I don't feel like the white glue it's not living up to all that I'd hoped. So we're just going to go at a few spots here and there. And then we'll have the white glue and the hot glue. To make sure we're getting a good mix and a good bit of fluff on there. Trying to pull up anything that's not glued down. Any long pieces that don't fit. Sure his eyes aren't covered up completely by the hair or the Hot glue gun was the answer for this area, that is for sure. That's my canvas. I'm super happy with the way it turned out. I could sit here and pick at it and mess with it for hours, but I'm gonna stop there and call it good. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I hope you'll try something, get out some yarn and try something like this. It was a lot of fun. Took a lot of time, but it was a lot of fun. As always, I appreciate it if you like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I hope you'll join me next time. Bye for now.